What is going on YouTube? Just helping you out here. And in this video I'm going to be building the models contained in bag 4 for the FLL RePLAY 2020-2021 game. The models that you will be building are the slide figures, and the step counter. You will be needing 2 bags labeled number 4, and you will be needing 3 of the extra piece bags. This one that contains all those black 15 beams, this bag of other beam pieces, and this bag right here that contains mostly those wheels. So first up, you will be needing one of these 5 axles and one of these small 2x1 axle pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to just stick that axle in one of the sides. Just like that. And now you will need one of these yellow axle pieces and 2 of these black axle pieces. And you're going to do the same thing you just did, except you're going to stick the yellow piece on next. Just like that. And then you're going to stick the 2 black pieces on. Just like that. And make sure these are all aligned, so if you look, the long edge of all these are all pointed this way. Next up, you will need a long blue pin and a 3 yellow axle. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick the short side of the blue pin in this hole right here next to the gray axle. Just like that. And then you're going to stick the yellow axle in the axle part of this black piece. Make sure that yellow axle goes through both of these black pieces. And now you will need one of these 2 beam pieces with an axle piece on top, and you're going to stick that on the gray axle pointed upwards. So just like that. And now you will need another gray 5 axle and one of those 2x1 axle pieces, and you're going to do the same thing you did before. You're going to stick that axle in one of these axle holes, and then you're going to take the piece you already have made, and you're going to stick it through the back of this yellow piece right here, and you're going to have this gray piece pointed upwards, so just like this. And make sure this orientation is exactly how you see it right here. And now you will need a black 15 beam, and you're going to put the last hole on this blue pin right here. So just like this. And it should look like that. And now you will need 2 more of these black axle pieces and one of those yellow axle pieces, and you're going to put the black axle pieces on first so that they align with these black axle pieces. So just like this. Making sure they cover all 4 of those items sticking out. Just like that, and this one. So once you put those 2 black pieces on, you should no longer be able to see the yellow axle or the blue pin. And now I'm going to put the yellow piece on over these 2 gray axles. And it should look like that. And now you will need 2 long blue pins and one of those 2x1 gray axle pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick the axle piece on this gray axle right here, just like this, so that the other one is still available. And then you're going to stick these 2 blue pins long ways into the beam, one at the very end, so just like that, and then one right here, so just like that, where you should have a 1 hole gap right here. And now you will need 2 of these pink 11 beams, and you're going to put those on either side of these blue pins. You're going to stick this last hole on this pin right here, so just like this, and the other one on this side. Just like that. And now you will need 2 of these L pieces, and you're going to stick them on either side in these 2 holes right here. So I'm going to put one right here, and I'm going to put the other one right here. And you want to make sure these pins are pointed in the same direction as these pink pieces. And now you're going to need 2 beams, 4 black friction pins, and 2 of those pink 5 beams. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one of those pink 5 beams, and you're going to stick one of the black pins in the last hole. You're going to put another one right next to it, and then you're going to stick that gray 2 beam right on top of those 2 pins. Just like that. And you're going to do that twice. So you should have 2 pieces that look like this. And then you're going to take those and you're going to put them on the leftover pins from these L's. So just like this. one on that side, and one on that side. So it should look like that. And now we're going to set this piece aside. So now you need a black friction pin and a black 15 beam, and you're going to take that pin and you're going to insert it 3 holes from the end. So 1, 2, 3, insert it right there, and there you have it. And now you're going to need 1 gray elbow, one of these pieces that has an axle and a beam hole on it, and one of those blue pieces that is part pin and part axle. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick this piece with the axle and beam hole inside of the elbow. Make sure that both of these holes are facing the same direction, and then you're going to stick the blue pin in the other side of that elbow. Just like that. And now you're going to attach this end hole to this pin, like this. And make sure it looks just like that. And now you will be needing 3 of these yellow cylindrical pieces and 6 black friction pins. And what you're going to do is take each of these yellow cylindrical pieces and put one of the black pins in either end. So you should have 3 pieces that look like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to insert them in the part that you already made. So you're going to leave a 1 hole gap and put one in here. And then you're going to leave a 2 hole gap and put another one in there. And then you're going to leave another 2 hole gap and put one in there. So the gaps starting here should be 1, 2, 2, and then 4. And then you're going to need 2 more black friction pins, and you're going to insert one in the very end of the beam. And then you're going to leave a 1 hole gap and insert another one. So it should look like that. And now you will need another one of those gray elbows and another one of those pieces that has an axle and a beam hole in it. And what you're going to do is you're going to insert that axle with the beam hole into the elbow. And again, make sure that the holes line up with each other. And then you're going to take that piece you had already built and you're going to put this piece on those 2 black pins. Just like that. Just make sure that you have this one pointed up and this one is pointed down. And now you can set this piece aside. Now you are going to need a black 15 beam and a black friction pin. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick that black friction pin 3 holes from the end of this beam, so right here. And then you're going to take another one of those gray elbows, one of these axle pieces with a beam hole, and one of these blue pieces with part axle, part pin. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick that piece with the axle and beam hole into the elbow, making sure that the holes line up. And then you're going to stick the axle part of the blue piece into the other side of the elbow. So it should look like that. And then you're going to stick this end hole onto this pin, just like this. So it looks like that. And then you're going to take 2 black friction pins and you're going to insert one in the last hole on this beam. And then you're going to leave a 1 hole gap and insert the other one. So it should be just like that. And now you're going to take another gray elbow and one of those pieces with an axle and a beam hole, and you're going to insert the piece with the axle and beam hole into the elbow like this, again making sure that those holes line up. And then you're going to attach that to the 2 black pins you put in, just like this. And now you're going to grab this piece that I told you to set aside earlier, and we are just going to connect the 2. So that everything lines up. Just like that. Alright, so now you will be needing 4 black friction pins, and you are going to insert them in these 2 holes on both sides. So, one here, one here, one here, and one here. And this is what that should look like. And then you will need 2 of these size 3 yellow axles, and you're going to put them in the elbows that are left over down here. Just like that. And now you're going to grab that piece that we set aside earlier, and you're going to stick these 2 blue pins into that black piece that's sticking up. So it should look like this. And now you're going to take a size 5 axle and one of those 2x1 axle pieces, and you're going to stick the axle in one of those axle holes. Just like that. And now you're going to take this piece and you're going to stick the axle through this hole right here and then connect this leftover axle hole to this gray axle right here. So just like that. So now you're going to grab two of these tan pieces that are mostly axle and have a little bit of pin on top, two of these yellow axle pieces, and two of these 3-beam pieces with the axle piece on top. And what you're going to do is you're going to take each of these tan pieces and slide one of those yellow axle pieces on it, and you're going to slide it all the way to the end, and you're going to do that on both of them. And then you're going to take those and you're going to put them through this axle piece on the 3-beam. So one like this, and on the other one like this. So you should have two identical pieces that look like this. And now you're going to stick those pieces on these black pins. Just when you put them on, make sure that the tan piece is facing this direction. And it should look like that. And now you will need 4 of those yellow axle pieces, 2 of these small red axles, and 2 of these white axle pieces. And what you're going to do is take one of these white axle pieces and stick one of the red axles in each end, making sure the other side of the axle is flush with the white piece. And then you're going to take the other white axle piece and stick it over those red axles. Again, make sure the one side is all flush, so you have the red axle sticking out like this. And then you're going to put 2 of the yellow axle pieces over those red axles. So it should look something like that when you are done. And then you're going to take this and you're going to slide those 2 middle open holes over these yellow axles. Make sure that these other yellow axle pieces are faced inward. So just like that. And now you can set this whole piece aside. And now you're going to need a size 10 black axle and one of these black elbows, and you're going to put that axle in one of the ends of the elbow. Just like that. And now you'll be needing 4 of these metallic cylinders and 1 straight elbow. And what you're going to do is you're going to slide all of the cylindrical pieces over that axle that you just put into the black elbow. And then you're going to stick the straight elbow on the other side. Just make sure when you do that, the hole on this elbow lines up with the hole on this elbow. Just like this. And now you will take one of these pieces that's part axle and has that beam hole in it, and you're going to stick it in the end of this gray elbow. And again, make sure that all your holes are lined up. And now you're going to take 3 black friction pins and you're going to put 1 in each of the holes on these elbows. Just like that. And now you're going to set this piece aside. And now you will need a black elbow and a size 10 black axle, and you're going to stick that axle into one of the ends of the elbow. And now you will need 4 more of those metallic cylinders and 1 straight elbow, and you're going to do the same thing you did before, where you slid those metallic cylinders over the axle. And then you're going to cap off the end with the straight elbow, again making sure that the holes on the 2 elbows line up. Now you will need one of these pieces that has part axle and one of those beam holes, and you're going to stick it in the end of the straight elbow, again making sure that all the holes align. Just like that. And now you're going to grab that piece that I told you to set aside, and you're going to connect all the holes from this one with all these black pins that you stuck in the other one. So just like this. And all your components should align. And now you're going to grab that other piece that I told you to set aside earlier, and you're going to attach these 2 black elbows to the leftovers of these yellow axles. So just like this. Make sure this is pointing down. And that's what this should look like. This is now the completed build for the slide, so I can just set this aside. And now we are going to get started on the slide figures, and there are 2 of those, so all of the instructions I will be doubling up on so we can build them both at the same time. So now you will be needing two 90-degree elbows and two of the small red axles, and the first thing you are going to do is just stick one of the red axles in each of the elbows. So you have two identical pieces like this. And then you are going to take two more 90-degree elbows and stick them in the other end of this red axle. Just make sure that when you do that, the ends that are available still are pointed in the same direction. So you should have two pieces that are identical and look like this. So now you will need 4 of these size 4 axles, and you're going to stick them in all the ends that are available on the elbows. So one here, one here, one here, and one here. So you should have two identical pieces that look like this. Now I am going to take these 4 green pieces and attach them to one of the axles on each of these builds. Make sure they are in the correct orientation, and they should look just like this. Now you will need 4 black 90-degree elbows and 2 small red axles, and you're going to take one of those red axles and put it inside the elbow. Then you're going to take another elbow and attach it to that axle. Just make sure those 2 elbows are pointing in the same direction, and then you're going to take the other 2 and do the same thing. So you should have 2 pieces that look like this. And now you are going to attach these to these axles, just like this. And now you should have 2 identical pieces that look like this. So now you will be needing 8 of these blue pins that have a short side and a long side, and you're going to put them into the top of these 4 holes. Just like that, and now I'm going to do it on the other one. And there you have it, so you should have 2 pieces that look like this. And now you should have all the minifigure parts, so 2 heads, 2 bodies, and 2 legs, and you're going to assemble those. Just like that. And now what you're going to do is you're going to take each of these, you're going to bend the legs on the minifigures and attach them to these blue pins. Just like that, and I'm going to do that same thing on the other one. And these should look just like this, and both of them should be identical, and these are your completed slide figures. And now you're going to grab the slide right here, and you're going to stick those on. So one of them will be all the way down here like that, and the other one will sit right on top of here like that. And I'm just going to set this whole assembly aside. And now we can get started on the step counter. So now you are going to need 2 long blue pins and one of these black plates, and you're going to stick the blue pins short side in on the end holes of this plate. So just like that. And now you will be needing one of these black rectangle beams from the extra piece bag, and you are going to attach these 2 bottom holes to this plate. So just like this. And it should look something like that. And now you are going to take 2 black friction pins, and you are going to put them on the 2 bottom holes right here. So one right here and one right here. And it should look like that. So now you are going to take one of these pink pieces and put it on those 2 black pins. Just make sure that when you put this piece on, these vertical lines are pointed up and down, so that way you have available holes on either side of that pink piece. And now you are going to take 2 black friction pins, and you are going to put them on the front 2 holes on the top of this plate. So right there and right there. And now you are going to take a pink 11 beam and you're going to center it on those 2 pins that you just put in. Just like that, so that there's a hole available on either side. And now you are going to take 2 black friction pins and put them in the end holes on the front of that black plate. So it should look like this. And now you are going to take 1 black friction pin and you're going to flip this piece around and stick it in this corner hole right here. Just like that. And now you are going to take a pink 11 beam and one of those white cylinders and you're going to put the beam on these 2 pins right here. So just like that, and then you're going to stick the white cylinder on this other blue pin. And now we are going to set this piece aside. And now you will need 1 size 4 red axle, 1 of these yellow axle pieces, and a blue elbow. And you're going to take that elbow and you're going to put the red axle into it. And then you're going to slide that yellow axle piece to the end and have it touch the blue elbow. Just like that. And now you are going to take 1 of these gray axle pieces and 1 of these yellow axle pieces. So you're going to take the gray piece and attach it just like this, so that this axle hole and the hole on the elbow are facing the same direction. And then you're going to take the yellow axle piece and slide it onto the red axle until it's touching the gray piece. Just like that. And now you will need another blue elbow and 2 of the small red axles, and you're going to attach the blue elbow to the other side of this red axle so that the holes line up and these 2 are in this orientation. And then you are going to take your 2 small red axles and put them in either end of these blue elbows. So it should look just like this. And now you're going to take 2 of these black pieces and a size 3 yellow axle, and you're going to take those 2 black pieces and stick them on the red axles, and you're going to have them point in these directions. So they both should be pointed in that direction. And then you're going to take this yellow axle and put it into this gray piece that you attached earlier. So it should look just like this. Now you will need 4 of these L pieces and 4 of those blue pieces with part axle and part pin. And so you're going to take 1 of those L's and you're going to take the axle part of 1 of these blue pins and stick that in either end of the L. And then you're going to take another L and you're going to put it on top of those pieces of axle that are still showing. So you have a piece that looks like that, and you're going to make 2 of those. So now I have 2 identical pieces. So now you're going to grab this piece and you're going to attach it by putting those 2 blue pins in this hole and this hole on both sides. So this one will go like that, and this one will go like that. And it should look like this. And now you are going to grab the piece I told you to set aside earlier, and you are going to stick this yellow axle in the second hole of this beam rectangle. So just like that. And now you are going to grab 1 of these black pieces, 1 of these gray pieces, and a size 5 gray axle. And you are going to take this gray piece and put it onto the end of the axle. And then you are going to take the black piece and attach it upwards like this, except you're going to keep the black piece on the end of the axle. So it should look something like this. And now you are going to attach this gray piece to this leftover piece of yellow axle right here, in a way such that this black piece is facing that way. And it should look like this. And now you will need 1 of these pink pieces and 4 black friction pins. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick those pins into the sides of this pink piece. So it should look something like this. And now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to attach it to these 2 holes right here. Just like that, and now I am going to set this piece aside. So now you will need this black wheel looking piece, these two black friction pins, and a blue 7-beam. And what you're going to do first is you're going to take that 7-beam and you're going to insert one black pin, 3 holes from the end. Then you're going to leave a 1-hole gap and insert another one. And then you're going to take this black wheel and put it right on top of those 2 pins. So it should look something like that. And now you will need 2 small red axles and 4 of those yellow axle pieces. And what you're going to do is you're going to take one of those axle pieces and you're going to stick a red axle in the end. And then you're going to place another one of the yellow axle pieces on top and make it so the end of that axle is flush with the rest of this yellow piece. And you need to make 2 of those. So you should have 2 identical pieces that look like that, and you are going to attach them to this by putting them through the bottom like that, and same with the other one like that, and it should look like this. And now you are going to take a size 5 axle and this little black gear, and you are going to slide that gear down the axle roughly about that far for now. And then you are going to take it and put the long side through the center of this black wheel looking piece. So it should look like that. And now I'm going to grab that piece that we set aside earlier, and you are going to take what's left of this gray axle and put it in this hole right here. So just like that. And now I'm going to set this piece aside. Now you will be needing a long blue pin and this gray beam with gear teeth from one of the extra piece bags, and then you are going to take the short side of that pin and stick it in the back of this hole. Just like that. And now you will need a blue 7-beam and 2 black friction pins, and you are going to put each one of those friction pins in the ends of this blue beam. And then you're going to take that blue beam and you are going to insert it in this hole and that hole. So if I do that, you will see that there's 1 hole left over right here in the gray beam. And now you will need 2 black friction pins and a black 15-beam. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick those black friction pins in the 2 leftover holes in this gray beam. So right here and right here, just like that. And then you are going to take the end hole of this black beam and stick it on this pin. So just like that. And now you will need another 2 black friction pins and another one of those gray gear-toothed beams. And the first thing you are going to do is insert those black pins into the black beam. You're going to stick one in the end right here. And you are going to stick one right here, so that there is a 1-hole gap between this gray toothed piece and this black pin. So it should look like that. And then you are going to attach your other gear-toothed beam right here to those black pins you just inserted in such a way that the gear teeth line up right here. So it should look like this. And now you will need 2 of these blue pieces that are part pin and part axle, and you are going to insert them in the 2 axle holes on this gray beam. Just like that. And now you will be needing a pink 11 beam, and you are going to insert the 3rd hole on this pin right here. So just like that, and your entire beam here should be continuous. So it should look like this. And now you are going to take 1 yellow 3-beam and 2 black friction pins, and you are going to put those pins in either end of that yellow beam, so it looks like that. And then you are going to insert this from behind into these 2 holes. So just like that. And now you will need 2 more black friction pins, and you're going to insert them into these 2 holes of the pink beam. One at the very end and one right next to the yellow beam. Just like that. And now you are going to take this black L and you are going to attach the long side of it to these pins that you just put in. So just like that, so you have the L pointing down. And it should look like this. So now you need a size 5 axle and one of those white fin pieces. And what you were going to do is you were going to attach them like this, leaving this on the end of the axle and the fin part of it pointing in the same direction as the rest of that axle. And now you're going to take this and you're going to insert the long piece of this axle into this axle hole right here in this orientation so that the fin is pointing down, and you're going to push that all the way through. Now you will need 2 long blue pins and 3 green 7 beams. And you are going to take one of those beams and you are going to stick the blue pins in long ways on the 2 end holes. So just like that, and then you are going to put the other 2 beams next to it. So you have a piece just like this. And now you need to insert this 4th hole from the bottom onto this blue pin, and that means the 3rd from the bottom is going to be on this axle. And you're going to push that on, and it should look just like that. And now you are going to grab this piece, and now you are going to take this long piece and just set it right in here so that the gear teeth on the gray beam and the gear teeth on that black gear are aligned. And now you will need 2 blue long pins and one of these black rectangle beams, and you're going to stick the pins in these top 2 holes long ways in, but you're only going to stick them halfway in. So just like that for now. And now you will need one of these pink pieces, 2 yellow cylinders, and 2 black friction pins. And what you're going to do is you're going to stick those black friction pins in the same side of this pink piece, and then you're going to put the yellow cylinders on those pins you just put in. So it should look like that. And now you're going to take your rectangle with your pins sticking out, and you're just going to slide this pink piece in there, and now you're going to push these blue pins in all the way so they go into these yellow cylinders. Just like that. And now you are going to take 2 more long blue pins and you're going to stick the long end into the other side of this rectangle piece in the top 2 holes so it connects into this pink piece right here. Just like that. And now you are going to take 2 black friction pins and you are going to put them into the bottom hole on either side of this rectangle. So one right there, one right there, and this is what it should look like. And now you are going to take 2 pink 11 beams and you're going to stick them on either side of the rectangle where you just had all those pins. And when you do that, you just want to make sure that the edge of the rectangle aligns with the beams and they are both centered. So it should look just like this. So now you are going to take this piece that you just made and attach it to this bigger piece. And what you're going to do is you're going to attach these 2 holes to these 2 pins and these 2 holes to these 2 pins. Just like this. And it should look just like that. Now you are going to take 2 black friction pins and 2 of those white cylinders, and you are going to insert one of the pins in each of those cylinders. And then you are going to take those 2 pieces and you're going to insert them into this little black piece right here. Just like that. And this is what the step counter should look like once you have completed its build. So these are the models contained in bag 4. You have the slide figures, and the step counter. Alright, so that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, leave a comment if you have any questions or an idea for a future video, and lastly, please don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about my channel so I can grow and help more of you guys out. I'm just helping you out. See you in the next video.